Hi, everyone. Welcome to Around the World with Duff. I'm really glad you're joining us this evening. It's a beautiful night in Toronto. Sorry, I have hair in my mouth. It's my Kenny Rogers beard getting out of control. It's starting to grow into my mouth. It's a beautiful night in Toronto. It was raining today. I think we saw some snow, and then there was hail. What is going on? Uh, anyway, I'm glad you're with us. Anyway, it is episode 12, June 6th, Saturday. So yes, welcome to Around the World with Duff. We've had some great support over the past few weeks and months, and it feels like years that I've been doing this. But yes, we've had some technical glitches, and we're still do. Actually, Patty, my guest, is trying to work on getting her devices connected, but it says that her devices are not connected. So I'm just going to pray that she can get the camera happening, and it should be fine. Anyway, I know you're there, Patty. I know you're there. She's in Japan. So for those of you just joining this show, it is a show. It's a live stream. I've been kind of like wondering what to name it over these few weeks, and I guess live stream is the thing. It's not a podcast, although I've been told it could make it into a podcast. It's not really a show, I guess. What is a show? A show to me is like singers and dancers and music. This is not. Well, there is music, but anyway, this is me talking to people and chatting with people around the globe, talking to them and finding out what is happening in everyone's different locale around the globe. And it's been very eye-opening, I'll have to say that, talking to different people in different countries, different states of lockdown, how that's affected the numbers, COVID numbers. It's all been very eye-opening, and I hope you've seen and gathered that knowledge as well. As you can see, in Canada, we haven't done that, so that's affecting our numbers, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So anyway, welcome to the show. We've got some great guests coming up. I was going to take this coming week off, but I'm actually going to forge ahead. I don't know what I would do with myself if I didn't do this 3 times a week. So I'm hooking up some guests, booking some guests for the next few days, and it's going to be very interesting. So my guests coming up, I want to do on Tuesday, I'm focusing on Mexico. So I'm trying to get a hold of my friend Sandra in Mexico, and also my friend Pat, if he's not too busy, and some other folks in Puerto Vallarta. And so that's Tuesday, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that at 1 p.m. Thursday, I am planning a United States of America. It's going to be called Americans on America. And I'm trying to get as many people as I can. Well, I can only do, I think, about 6 on this show, people in different states. So I've got somebody in Florida. Lori, my friend, is coming on in Florida. I've got my friend Adrian, who's in Texas. They're booked. And hopefully some peeps in Philadelphia, New York, and Los Angeles. I'd really like to talk to people on different sides of the country and everywhere else in between as well. So if you do know people that would like to come on the show and talk about the states, I would love that. I really think that we need to focus on what's happening now there. And it seems like it's quite peaceful, that things are working out. And so far that the protests are massive, which says something to what is happening, to the racism, the systemic racism of Aboriginal, Blacks, people of color. It's across the board, the prejudice, and still trying to get Patty here online. Her says her devices are not connected. I don't know what's going on. Oh, geez. I hope she can get on. So, yes. So, I've got a comment here. Karen's joining us. Hi, Karen. Where are you, Karen? I know that you are not. I think you're overseas, aren't you, Karen? Anyway, let us know. I'd love to know where you're at, because Karen, I think, came over from Aaron Pritchett's posse there. I don't know what's happening with Patty, my guess. So, yikes. Maybe, Patty, restart your browser. I don't know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to blab for. Oh, so Karen is in the UK. All right, so that's good to know. This is good. We've got people coming to us now from over the pond, under the pond. Uh, um, so back to what's happening with the protests. There are a lot of people here in Toronto as well. We had massive protests, two simultaneously happening at the same time. Thousands of people showed up. I know that they painted a huge Black Lives Matter down Washington, right towards the White House, and the White House is all gated and fenced in, and people are, he's all guarded. Somebody said today that he's got his wall, and that he does. He's got his wall, but that cannot. Yes, Karen said, Devon, UK. Devon. I have no idea where that is. You'll have to tell us, Karen. So yes, so there are, and also overseas, I'm sure Karen can attest to, there's some massive protests happening globally as well. I know Australia, France. It's been a lot. And my friend Holly is back from PEI. Hello, Holly. Loads in the UK, including Exeter near me. Yes. Oh, she's in the West Country. Okay, the West Country. Gotcha. Okay. I was just about to do. Oh, there's Patty again. Hopefully she's. No, it says device is not connected. I don't know what's going on there, Patty. That's horrible. I don't think it's anything on my end. I've opened up everything. So, yeesh, I hope she can get in. I guess we'll have to somehow. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. So, Patty, I hope you can get on. Maybe try another device. I don't know. I really want to talk to her. Anyway, yes. So I found this really beautiful quote by Martin Luther King, and I know that a lot of my Black friends are saying that they need us to speak up as well. White people of white privilege, who don't have to worry about being racial profiled or followed around in a store. Even though today I was followed around in my local grocery store, and I think the woman thought I was going to steal something. I said to her, I'm just looking at your plants. I'm not stealing anything. All right. I already brought my groceries. Easy, girl. Settle down. Cheryl. Welcome, Cheryl Benoit. Hello. First time watching. Thanks for watching. So I came across this really beautiful quote by Martin Luther King. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. I think that's really a really amazing quote, because everyone has to keep moving. It can't stop now. Nobody can stop. This wave, you feel this wave happening, it can't stop. In order for things to change, people have to keep moving. So yes, now my guests are talking amongst each other. That's great. I love to see everyone make conversation while they're watching. So yes, so that's actually a really interesting thing that's happening through the US. And what concerns me still, and I'm trying to wrap my head around that, and I know that we shouldn't put the COVID and social distancing aside, but you can't help but think, what will be the repercussions as you watch thousands of people clustered together? I know during the 1918 pandemic, they opened up everything, and I think there was a very famous event down south. I can't remember what state it was, but they opened up their gates and said, everything's okay now. And that one parade, I can't remember what the parade. I'm not so good on the facts, am I? But essentially, after that parade, the 1918 pandemic had another wave, and a huge wave, because they thought that everything was fine. But this is different. This has to be done. These protests have to go ahead and have to happen. So it's almost like we just have to deal with whatever the repercussions are. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is the ultimate herd immunity. Not sure, but I heard that on the news tonight that the virus is also mutating. So yes, I need Steve on. Steve's busy. He's got so many shows. He's got 2 shows now. He has no time for me. No time. Yeah, so I'm going to get to so my guest tonight, hopefully, Patty's still struggling with trying to get her device connected. Hopefully she'll do that. I've got 45 minutes in order to make it work. Even if I get in like 15, 20 minutes with Patty, I would really appreciate it. It's 8 a.m. tomorrow in Japan right now. She's in Yokohama, so she's coming to us from Yokohama. Patty and I are long time friends. I calculated, actually, 36 years ago I met Patty Bader-Johnston. 36 years ago. So that was in 1984, I believe. So we've got a few things to catch up on. I haven't really seen her since then, although we did work together at Expo 86 in Vancouver. We were hosts to the Saskatchewan Pavilion. We're going to talk about that a bit too. We were ambassadors to Saskatchewan, and we painted kids' faces and brought them through the pavilion and played the calliope, and it was a blast. Actually, I have a picture of this is the Saskatchewan Pavilion. It was shaped like a grain elevator. You can see there's a little window up there. That's actually one of us trying to get some air from the thousands of people that came through that pavilion every day, and through Expo 86. That was the World's Fair in Vancouver. So that city was transformed. So Patty works, I think, for a company called Silverbirch, which she is a consultant in communication, sustainability, and alternative energy. So super interesting. I'm really looking forward to talking to her. Yikes! I hope she can get on with her devices there. So every night, oh, there she is again. Yes, she's there. Okay, well, I'll check in with you in a bit, Patty. Hold on. I can't hear you, just so you know. So every time I do the show, I do a COVID update. So globally, I'm just going to bring up my graphics. My producer is working on the graphics right now. I love maps, and this is so. This, I think, was as of yesterday, and as you know, the counts jump every day. So if it's a little bit out, it's because Toronto gets 300 plus cases a day, or Ontario does. So yeah. So globally, we've got 6,734 and zero. I can't count. 734,088 cases globally. Deaths 394. 875,000. So that's up. It was sitting at around 300. We're almost at 400,000 now. It's climbing considerably, and this, of course, are the countries like that are red that you see there. The U.S., the coastlines of South America, Brazil is quite bad, and through Europe, of course, and Spain and France they're still doing quite bad in there. So the U.S. cases are now almost at 2 million, 1,897,380,000 cases, 109,000 deaths. In Canada, we have 95,947 cases and 7,778 deaths, and that's rising quite a bit. But here's what's important is there globally, people, the amount of people that have recovered is 2,746,109 192. So that's actually pretty good. I mean, but we're also talking about almost 7 million people that have contracted or have something related to COVID. So Japan, where we're visiting Patty today, is 16,958 cases and only 916 deaths. Now that's still a lot of deaths, but compared to other countries, when you have a population of 126.5 million people, that's just Japan. So actually, they're doing super well in terms of cases. 16,000, almost 17,000 cases when you have a population of 126.5 million. We need to learn something from these countries. Tokyo in itself has 5,343 cases and 309 deaths. Also quite low. I mean, I think compared to Ontario, that's even like, and there's way more people in Tokyo. And Yokohama, where Patty is, in the region of Kanagawa, I think it's pronounced, 1,385 cases and only 87 deaths. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her about what precautions were taken there in terms of that. So as you know, guys, I focused on this little country. I always wanted to know which country had the least amount of cases and which country had the least amount of deaths, and it still is Lesotho. Lesotho. I'm really intrigued by this teeny little country, which is in South Africa. So Lesotho is a country that's surrounded, completely landlocked by another country, which is the country of South Africa. It's a super high altitude. I'm just going to show you. Let's just have a little look at Lesotho. Oh my God. Like, I just want to end up there. When I'm done here, I'll just end up in Lesotho. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Very high altitude. It's 2 million people. And from what my guest was telling me the other day, Fajer, he takes tour groups up here. These are the little villages. It's so beautiful. It's like Lord of the Rings. It's gorgeous up there. And it's super high altitude. He said that these people live very close to how they originally lived, when they first settled in Africa. It's complete. And this is why it takes forever to get up there. It's very hard to get up there. And this is why their death count, they locked it down. There's only 4 cases and 0 deaths. So again, I mean, look at this. Beautiful. That's all I need, really. I mean, so what's interesting is that now let me just show you where Lesotho is. So that's Lesotho there. So I was very close to Lesotho. I've been to Durban, Port Elizabeth, and Cape Town. It's pretty close to Durban. So beautiful little place in South Africa. So what's interesting is that 2 days ago, the former first lady was arrested for killing her husband's ex-wife. Wow. So, they may have a low death rate there, but yikes, they hold a grudge. Woo! So I hope everything stays the same in Lesotho, and that might be the first place I go when this is all done. Fajer, I want to get on one of those tours with Fajer. My last episode was with Fajer, super interesting guy. If you want to watch that on YouTube, he tells us all about Lesotho, and yes, Karen, it does sound amazing. So so that I found very interesting. This month is Pride Month. So please stand in solidarity with my people, and we are proud of who we are. LGBTQI, all inclusive. And I think I have a long history of of being gay. It's been a long time. Even Patty knows when I was 16, I was there were really no secrets. I wasn't really like, I was just me. I was just me wearing my sequins. And so, yes, pride to all my friends and family. What else was I going to say? So I wanted to just tell you a little bit about Yokohama, a little bit more. It's one of the first Japanese ports to open to foreign trade in 1859. Second most populated city in Japan, next to Tokyo. Excuse me, I'm getting dry. So this is also really interesting, and Patty can probably attest to this. It had Japan's first bakery, first brewery, first cinema, first newspaper, first ice cream, and ready for this? First public restroom, which no one can use right now because you have to pee in the bush. They won't let you use restrooms right now. So anyway, I found that really interesting. So before we get to anything else, I want to bring in Patty. She's been waiting patiently. Thank you so much, Patty. I'm really looking forward to talking to her after many, many years. Let me see if she's there. Patty, are you there?
I hope you can hear me. Hi.
I can hear you. You made it.
Yay. Yay. I went to my iPhone. I gave up on my laptop.
You did? Oh,
okay. It may be a Japan thing. I don't know.
That's okay. You look beautiful. You look gorgeous.
Well, you haven't changed.
I'm good. I think we've got a bit of a delay, but I think it'll catch up with us because it's just how this thing goes. And you're a little bit you are actually in Tomorrowland right now. So
I am. Yeah, welcome to tomorrow.
So I thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. This is such a nice way to reconnect with you after so many. I mean, I don't think I've seen you since Expo, right?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. How fun, eh?
Yeah, since 1986. So that's incredible. And so for the people that don't know you, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you started? And I know, well, you obviously are from Saskatchewan, right?
Yes. I grew up in a farming community, Prince Albert, in Saskatchewan.
Right.
And I was there until, well, I guess I left around the year we met, about that year.
Right.
And I've been kind of traveling the world ever since. I came to Japan years and years ago. Like, oh my goodness, I hate to even imagine. 35 years ago.
Right.
Just for an adventure. I think I read Shogun, and I thought that was kind of, I knew nothing about Japan, so had a chance to come. And spent a couple of years in northern Japan teaching at a university. Got interested, came back, I was doing graduate work, and I got introduced to a government exchange that brought me over. I worked with Japanese government for 3 years.
Right.
Then went back, and we met again at Expo.
Yes.
In Vancouver. Yeah, my brief bounce back to Canada.
Yeah. Yes.
Picked up a husband.
Good job.
A house drummer in the pavilion that we were both working in, right?
Oh, wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah, married Brad, and we've been married 35 years now.
Oh, wow. I remember
4 kids
Brad.
Later.
Now, 4 kids. That's great. Oh, will you say hi to Brad for me?
I will, absolutely.
I think he played. I used Dinah, my old friend Dinah, and we used to know.
You up.
Yes, I think he played drums for us for many times with Martin on the piano and all those guys, and Duff Robinson, also another Duff out there that was playing
he was
at the pavilion.
Hip Check, if you remember. Yeah.
Yes, Martin, right. Hip Check. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
wow.
The only 2 Duffs that I know in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Stage at the same time. Anyway, and they ended up in Japan, and that time I dragged Brad back with me.
Right.
And ended up joining the Canadian Embassy for 8 years, worked in culture and communications, then did an MBA with McGill. I ended up as a vice president in Goldman Sachs.
Wow.
Had a global role for a few years, and then ended up going to another bank, Standard Chartered Bank. And my last corporate role, I was director of communications in IBM in Japan and on the board. And I retired from there about 10 years ago, started my own company.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so I've actually started 5 companies since then. And
wow. Patty.
So I've been
Wow.
rolling around the world and mainly working in sustainability these days, energy
Jeez.
development and alternative energies, trying to, and I teach at a couple of universities in sustainability. So
Right.
in a nutshell, that's where
Yeah,
I've been since the last time I saw you.
that's a big nutshell. I feel so stupid.
I feel so old.
Well, I feel that too, but that's incredible. So that sustainability. So can you just tell people a little bit more about that? And when you're dealing with corporations, obviously, when you're talking about that, right?
Well, yeah, because you have to have big investors involved with energy development, right? But
Yeah.
one of my pet projects at the moment is actually in Mongolia.
Oh,
Ulaanbaatar is one of the it's one of the most polluted cities in the world because they use Soviet era coal fired heating. It's
mm.
very similar climate to Saskatchewan actually.
Oh,
I felt
okay.
quite at home in Mongolia.
Oh, you did?
Really, minus the camels, it really reminded me of home.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And
Mongolian food is one of my favorite foods. So maybe when I come there, I'll just hunker down in Mongolia.
you'd like it actually, and the
I
yurts are
bet.
beautiful. I mean, if you like the little huts in
Yeah.
Lesotho, then
Looks
you'd
all
love Mongolian gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing a waste to energy project, which is using Scandinavian technology, the
Mhm.
same that's used in Denmark and Sweden,
Yes.
in order to basically eliminate landfill. They have 9 landfill sites just in the city of Ulaanbaatar by itself. 1.5 million people, and they've got like 9 landfill
It's
sites. So
horrible
it's
seeping into
landfill.
the soil and into their,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
So that
the
could be
water.
all eliminated. And I don't like the idea of burning stuff. But now
Yeah.
the technology can actually do it zero emissions. They have all these amazing scrubbers and things. And we capture
Mm,
all the ash and we make building blocks
right.
out of it because cement's made of ash, actually. It's one of the dirtiest industries in the world. But if you capture it and you reuse the ash, you can sequester the carbon. And in
Wow.
the Gobi Desert, they don't have a lot of trees. So it's great building materials. And
Right.
we also will produce 72,000 liters of water an hour that can be bottled and used also in the Gobi Desert. So
That's
it's kind of a
incredible.
cool closed loop system. That's the kind of project that I focus on.
Yeah, just a little hobby side thing that you're doing.
Well, it is project by project, Duffy.
Well,
It's
yeah, of course.
every area, every place has its own problems.
Of
And
course.
if you want to fix, you have to go in and see what needs fixing, and then you look at the technology and all the innovations that are out there, and then you fix what you can, right?
Yeah, and hopefully then it's like a domino effect, right? And countries will follow and see, as those countries gain, in that area, then things get better, and they're like, maybe. I mean, the countries that claim to be so green and sustainable are not at all. There's a lot of change that needs to happen.
Well, there's a lot of also misunderstandings and misconceptions about the role of technology, and people,
Yeah.
like for instance, there's that Michael Moore movie that just came out,
Hmm.
and the technology that he's looking at in that documentary, I think the newest stuff I saw was from 2012. I mean, how
Oh,
much has your cell phone changed since
yeah,
2012?
exactly. Yeah.
So it was really watching from somebody who does
Mm,
energy development. It was
mhm.
very anachronistic.
Yeah.
They're saying that, oh, you shouldn't bring in big bankers and things to fund, this because they're all in bed together. And it's like, well, if the big bankers aren't funding clean energy, then who
Who
the
is?
heck is going to do it?
Yeah. Right.
You know, as a former Goldman Sachs person, I guess I'm biased, but I don't think all those people are evil. And
Right.
I've hosted Al Gore in Japan a couple of times, and I've done the climate reality thing with him just about 6 months ago.
Right.
And I mean, these people are trying to change the world. Why vilify them?
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
So there's a lot of misinformation and misperceptions out there about who the good guys and the bad guys are, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's yeah. And this is one reason why I love doing this show is you get to the source of, like you are dealing with these people on a personal level, on a business level as well. So these are important things for everyone to know, right? In terms unless we won't have any change. So
Yeah,
that's
you have to make mistakes on the way as well. And there's a lot of things that are being done that we'll find out 5 years from now weren't such a good idea, but you
mhm,
can't not try.
mhm,
You have to use the technology you've got
yeah,
and try to make those changes.
yeah.
I was kind of sorry while I was trying to get in, I was listening to your pandemic update. It's a
Yes.
little bit the same on that as well, right? I mean, there's going to be some novel and really different way to stemming this. It might not be a magical vaccine, but
No.
everybody all over the world working together with all these amazing people looking at every which direction, about how this could be resolved.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the solution is going to be. It
No.
might be a combination of 1,000 of them, 1,000 cuts to the pandemic, and somehow it will resolve. But we all have to work together.
Yeah, I was going to say that as you were talking about all that, it's all somewhat connected, and also the racism and working together. People cutting down the barriers.
Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
I mean, how can this even not be just a no-brainer in this world?
I know.
This one, none of us can imagine what it's like to lead the life of a young Black man in North America and a lot of countries right now. But I've been a visible minority for most of my adult life in Japan.
Yeah, right.
I've been blocked from entering bars and restaurants because I was a foreigner. I've been denied reservations at hotels in Japan just because I'm a foreigner.
Really?
I've been denied renting an apartment because I'm a foreigner. I've been denied loans because I'm on a visa. But I've never feared for my life because I'm white. And even here, I have white privilege.
Yeah,
I'm often treated better than I deserve because I'm the right color foreigner.
Yeah.
And I think, when you live with those kinds of things, if you've never been at the wrong end of a rant about why you're stupid and you should go home and you're ruining our economy, it's hard to imagine. But I have been on the end of those rants, even with white privilege.
Yeah.
So I just can't imagine what people of color go through when they're trying to live not only at home but abroad.
And born into it,
like the insult to injury on top of it. At least here I know I am a foreigner.
Yeah.
Imagine, in your own country being treated like that. It must just be, I mean, it's not something you can ever learn to live with and accept.
No. And it's so deep seated that it, oh boy. I mean, we've tried to change it over so many years. This isn't the first time we've had protests, but this is like something we've never seen before. This is like a global event, and the COVID is global. That's what blows my mind too. Is it's happening simultaneously. It's like an atom about to burst.
Yeah.
It's So yeah, I think that's
one doesn't make the other worse. That's my only worry.
Right. I know. Or is there some other greater force at work that's like you were talking about, that's actually going to come together? All of that stripping away of the when COVID happened, it stripped everyone's identity really away. It didn't matter if you were white or black or anybody, right? It was just everyone. We were all on the same playing field. And so then that kind of like catapulted into the protests, which I find super intriguing, and kind of my brain starts to fry when I think about it too much.
Well, I hope all the good people on the streets aren't going to become the vulnerable group that gets hit by the pandemic next.
I know.
We're looking at the second wave, and hey, those aren't the people we want to get hit.
No.
Not that I'd wish that on anyone, but
no,
I mean,
I know.
Just through that comment, but it's the people who are marching right now are the people we need in this world. I
know. Yes, exactly. So, well, hopefully that. So, and what has it been like? So you were there, obviously, and I just want to show people a little piece of where you are. So you are in. There's the island. Right.
Yeah, it's a little bit. If you imagine Toronto, it's like Mississauga.
Right.
It's except it's got a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of its own history. But because Yokohama's history tends to be very focused on its interactions with the outside world, the opening after the isolation, but also that's where World War II ended.
Yeah,
downtown Yokohama is where the treaty to end World War II ended. That's where the occupation forces had their first headquarters. It's really quite a fascinating city from that perspective.
Yeah,
and it's a beautiful place. We love Yokohama.
Yes,
it's a lot like Vancouver.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it looks like Expo 86 when we were in Vancouver. They're beautiful. They're like Ferris wheel. They have like a little amusement area, I guess, kind of like, and it's just gorgeous at night. So is it
Come
surrounded?
and visit. Come and visit me, Duffy.
I have to now. Like
Open
I love
invitation when the
Japanese.
airplanes start flying again.
Yeah, right. I eat actually Japanese food every other day. It's my favorite food because of Vancouver, living in Vancouver, and gaining a taste for that. The best sushi, some of the best. And so when COVID happened, it must be it must have been challenging with your 4 kids and Brad there.
Well,
How did
actually,
that?
my 3 oldest are back in Canada. They've all
Oh,
got master's degrees already, Duffy. They're all way, and
right,
my
It's been
oldest is
30 years.
29. Can you believe it? Yeah, working in the healthcare system in Ontario,
Oh,
actually.
really?
My oldest. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. She's doing well. But we have one, our youngest is still here with us, and was at international school. School's all closed, so we're doing remote learning.
right.
Um, and yeah, but as you mentioned, the death rate's quite low in Japan.
Yeah.
And
And
Japan is we've all lived through the end of the world already in Japan. I was here during the tsunami and the nuclear disaster,
oh,
and
that's
we never
right.
left. Right. So, in such recent memory, Japan is a country that has faced a lot of these disasters,
Pretty
and
resilient, right?
they pull together. Like, I mean, this is a country that after literally the end of the world in
Yeah.
2011, there was no looting, there was no vandalism. The whole
Right.
country voluntarily turned off its lights so that there wasn't a single uncontrolled blackout, even though they lost 28% of their electrical grid overnight. And I don't
Wow.
think any other country on earth pulls together the way Japan does.
Yeah.
And so it's really amazing to watch that social a country that works
Hmm.
actually operate in a crisis. And with the pandemic, although there was a national emergency declared, there was
Hmm.
never any formal lockdown. There's never been any military presence. There's never been
Oh,
any enforcement.
really?
People cooperate,
Huh.
and it's normally in the spring everyone has allergies, so
Yeah.
Japan wears masks anyway because
Right.
of allergies.
Yeah. I noticed
So
actually in
it's not
Toronto a
even
lot.
that big a difference.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, we actually this is I was talking to my friend in Thailand, Betsy, who was I think on my 3rd episode, and she said, "Well, actually, people here, the reason we have such a low rate is because of the pollution and everything, we wear masks all the time. So like you're saying,
Well,
it's a
Japan doesn't have the pollution. It's cleaner
oh
than Toronto.
oh it is.
And
Oh, great.
the masks are actually have always been as a courtesy to others to not make them sick with your germs,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
as an allergy prevention. Those are
Right.
masks. So when I
Hmm.
arrived in Japan 30 years ago, one of the funny things that I first noted was that all kinds of people wear masks on the street, and they always have as long as I've been here. So with the
Interesting.
pandemic, you
Hmm.
just have more people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Normally, it's just people who've got a cold, and you know that if they've got a mask on, that they're trying not to spread germs, but they
Yeah.
still go to work.
Right.
They and so that allows them to stay socially active even when they're more sick than they should be, coming to work, and it
Yeah.
shows their dedication, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Right.
during the pandemic, basically everybody stuck on mask, and Japanese bow, they don't shake hands.
That's
They're
true. That's
fastidious,
right.
and the Buddhist tradition is extremely clean. Everything is about impurity. So you
Hmm.
wash your hands, and they learn at school. My kids went to Japanese school when they were small. One of the first things they learn is to wash their hands at school. The kids do their own janitorial work. They have no janitors in the school systems in Japan. The kids clean the school. They
Really?
work in the cafeteria, and they take turns serving lunches. They brush their teeth together after every meal. Part of their school kit is actually cleaning rags,
Right.
and they put it in their backpack, and they wash floors, and they clean blackboards, and they do that before they. So they have virtually no vandalism problem in Japan because
Right.
kids know they have to clean it up themselves
Yeah. Right.
from
Which is
day one.
a very good lesson for everyone to
Oh, well,
learn.
it changes society.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that is the root of the cleanliness in Japan. Is it from the early stage we all take responsibility for the nest we live in.
Yeah.
So Japan is, I think, the cleanest country on the planet, and the people's mentality is that we care for others,
Hmm.
and they don't try. If they know that they can make someone else sick, they stay home or they wear a mask, and they clean up after themselves. And that has caused almost infinitesimally small death rate in Japan with the COVID-19.
Yeah, like what did I say? It was 309. Well, Japan 916 deaths, and there's 126 million people in Japan.
Well, in Kanagawa that you mentioned, there's 9.2 million people. Over 60% are over the age of 60.
Oh.
And who are the vulnerable people in the world?
Which also says something, right? Right, exactly.
And because people have always protected the vulnerable and tried overtly not to make others ill, and they're clean. It's you see it, right? When people care for people, you have an impact. It's human behavior.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I was reading about the 1918 pandemic. I'm researching a play that I wrote about that. And back in 1918, it was actually people were fined for spitting on the street as well. I think the fine was $50 or something, which back in 1918 was a lot of money.
They chewed that Betelgeuse or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's also, isn't it illegal to spit in Japan as well?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And by the way, public bathrooms have never been closed during the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah. Even at the best of times, bathrooms in Japan are cleaned on average 6 times a day. They're fastidious. And you can go to any public bathroom and it's clean.
I think I'd be so happy in Japan. Now,
well, we still wear our mask and we wash our hands like crazy and we carry sanitizer. But I have to tell you, everybody was doing that before the pandemic.
Yeah. And I was doing that here too before, because just as a singer, as we know in theater, you and I used to do shows together and stuff. And that I actually use like, mouth spray and hand sanitizer because it spreads through the cast so bad that before you know it, the whole cast goes down, right? We had a horrible thing in Les Mis where one of our swings was covering about 5 or 6 different roles because we had to write people out of the show. Everyone was so sick because we weren't used to that, right? Being in such close quarters and spitting all over each other.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And this particular virus is bad. Even talking can spread it, right?
Right. Which is a concern for us.
At the top of your lungs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's a concern for us going back to the theater as well.
I want to hear you sing again, Duffy. I want to hear you sing again.
Love just go on. We'll do a duet. You could go on. I have so many videos on YouTube and stuff that it's all over the place. But I miss you and I. Well, actually, I'm going to haunt you a little bit here. I have some wonderful old shots of us. This is us.
Oh, that red outfit. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, you and Rob in bright red. You look so gorgeous. You were always glowing. You always were just so beautiful. You were like
red sequence. How can you not?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And all those band. We had a full band behind us. Like, how many pieces is that? Like,
we had so much fun on that.
Yeah.
Gosh,
jeez.
that was fun.
And so how old were you at that? So that was 1984, I think.
I was 17 or 18 years old or something,
Wow,
I think.
geez.
Oh, 84. No, I was probably 21. Yeah.
And
that was the year I came to Japan, actually.
Oh, okay. So this was, I think, the Saskatoon exhibition or something like that.
Yeah, some big show.
A really big show. And then you and I also, we worked at Expo 86, which I was talking about. And so this is why it looks so much like Yokohama, is that this was the Expo site back then in 86 in Vancouver. Now it's completely different.
How fun.
This is the show we did.
1,200 shows. We did that show 1,200 times. Remember?
Did we really? Wow.
Yeah, I remember we got a certificate.
Wow.
1,200 shows.
And you were in the tall cast. This is the tall cast.
Yes.
And I was in the short cast, which is totally prejudiced. That would not be allowed these days. But those were. Now, did you ever venture into singing after you left, or you just completely changed?
Because I married the house drummer.
Yeah, how could you not?
Brad and I actually, Brad carried on, and he was a musician in Japan. He's recorded 13 CDs, and played with Japan's oldest big band for 25 years and did all kinds of
Amazing.
studio work and different things. And yeah, so he went on, he did well. He's teaching music at Yokohama International School, International
Great.
Baccalaureate, because he started in the Kitchener-Waterloo Symphony, so he's classically trained
Right.
conservatory. So the
That
IB
goes a
is
lot of
just
way.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes a long way.
Yeah. And until I had my, I actually was singing up until I was 8 months pregnant with my first child. I have this amazing picture of me singing Alexander's Ragtime Band with a hat and sequins on when I'm 8 months pregnant. My first baby.
Oh, that's right.
It was stretchy.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol Gabel.
We did beer gardens and Christmas shows and things up until I think my third was born, and then I gave it up. I got a global role. I joined Goldman Sachs and I couldn't sing anymore.
Yeah. You had such a beautiful voice. I'd love to hear you sing again too.
Oh,
next time
it's pretty rusty.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens right after a while. You start to like, but it's yeah, right, totally. Well, yeah. So that's so your daughter is in Ontario, and how has she fared during all of this COVID? She's obviously, is she working at Toronto Western or?
Actually, she finished her MBA at Wilfrid Laurier and got hired into a job just before the pandemic broke.
Oh.
So because she was basically last in, she was first out when they started laying off. It was a food distribution company, and they had a lot of migrant workers, and there was a worry about the food industry. So she was laid off for 2 weeks and got rehired again by a healthcare system, like within 3 weeks. So she's now again employed, but working with a network of 8 clinics in Ontario, and absolutely thrilled in Elora, which is a beautiful little town.
Oh, yeah. Elora, that's one of my favorite places. I love Elora. The Elora Gorge is like this beautiful. I took my mom there before she passed away, actually. And there's like a mill, an old mill there, and you can inner tubes down the gorge. She's going to be
working right down the street. Well, she is working right down the street, and she loves the people. She says they're wonderful. Everybody's been traipsing up the stairs to say social distance and say make her welcome, and she's really enjoyed it. And then I have 2 boys who are like they're 2 years apart.
Right.
My oldest son is just finishing up a master's degree with Queen's University, and he's going to be doing a second master's. It's a double degree program with Queen's, with Vienna School of Economics and Business, starting from September. But with the pandemic, he's going to have to start remote instead of going to Austria. But he can get there for the second term of it. But he'll do a Master of International Management. And then my second son, has just finished the Master of Public Service, and he's working with the Ontario government in Ottawa, but remote working as well.
Yeah.
The Office of Economic Development and Innovation. So he's absolutely thrilled with that.
The Apple didn't. Yeah, the youngest is still helping you out at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. She's just going into grade 12.
Well, the apple certainly, a lot of the apples did not fall far from the tree. That's for sure. You've got, you should be so proud of your family. That's really amazing, Patty. It's like incredible genes.
Oh, well, and speaking of the tall cast, they're all taller than me. It's really bizarre when you have to hug up with your own kids.
Really? That's saying something, because you're like 6'2".
Well, 5'10", but with heels, 6
right.
Probably.
What? Just for my own entertainment, what was our duet? Didn't we sing something together in the show? I swear.
Yeah. It was something about gosh, I don't remember what it was. It was some love song. Jennifer Warren. And, wasn't it Jennifer Warren?
Love lift us up where we belong.
It was that song? Yeah.
I think so. I think it was. Oh my God, that's awesome. Wow. See, we still got it. The brain hasn't fried yet.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Patty, thank you so much. By the way, I think we might be related because Johnston is my grandfather's name. So.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
I'm going to have to go back and find the tree. And so that would be Brad, though, right? That's Brad.
Is it Johnston with a T or a Johnson?
Johnston.
Okay. Well, then we probably are. because the Johnstons are connected, and yeah, by family, that's or not, that would be fun
Maybe
to
that's
know
why you
that we're.
can't get rid of me.
Yes, exactly. Well, I would want to get rid of you, Duff.
Aw. Oh, so thank you so much for being on, Patty. It's super great for people to hear what things are like in Japan and compare all of our notes and put it all, and to see you after so many years. It's really wonderful. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this. And I hope when I come there, I will see you and meet some of your family, if not all of them. Although they sound like they're global citizens. So,
Well, they're all in Ontario at the moment, so yeah,
ah,
we'll be heading back to Ontario at some point. I hope in the next few years, but
okay.
that's our retirement destination. We
Oh, it
still love
is.
Canada. I mean,
Great.
we're still Canadian, and that's always home. It's
Yipper.
we have a house in Waterloo, so
Oh,
we come back in the summers when we can.
right. Yeah, right. When you can. Well, that
Not this
actually is one of the most beautiful areas. I work out in Drayton a lot and at the theater there, and I know that countryside, and that actually is one of my areas where I would like to settle down and get a little bungalow and just have a farm. And it's beautiful out near Elora and Waterloo and that whole area there. So who knows? We might be neighbors.
exactly, unless you're in Lesotho. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
we'll see.
So many destinations. Well,
It's been
thank you,
great talking to you,
Pat.
Duffy.
You too, honey, and say hi to Brad for me and to all your kids. And I hope things go well and everything. I hope this all ends soon. And Black Lives Matter for sure.
Absolutely. And
And
best wishes to everybody in your audience as well. I hope everybody's staying healthy, taking care, and love each other. Wear
yeah,
those masks.
yeah, wear those masks like everyone else around the world is doing, and learn the lessons. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Patty. Take care of yourself, Patricia. I should call you Patricia because.
Patty's fine.
Okay, good.
Patty's fine. Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
All right, Miss Johnston.
Oh
Thank
God, that
you.
takes me back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Patty, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks a lot. Love you, Duffy.
Love you too,
Bye.
honey. Bye. So that was my old friend that I've known for many years, as you may have deduced. Wow, met her in 1984. So that's saying something. We've kept in touch all of not very much, but because of Facebook, we reconnected. So we may say things about social media, but actually look at all the information and all the knowledge we gained just from talking to one person. And after so many years, I'm so glad that that is part of my nature, though, to bring people together. I've always been that way. I'll be the person that will have a party with a bunch of people who don't know each other. And I love seeing people talk and get together and share information. And I've seen people go on to develop relationships or not, and also working relationships. So as we were talking about, these things are really important, right? Sustainability, I can't even say it. That's how often we say it. Is something that our countries need to really address before it's too late, and look at other countries like Denmark and look at what they're doing to change. It's systemic, which is also the racist thing that we're also dealing with has to change, and it's comes from the roots. This is what we're talking about, changing it from the ground up, rearranging things, making it all work so that we can all live on this planet together, happy and joyously. And who knows, maybe this is the grand scheme, right? It's all coming together for some reason, either to wipe us out or or to make our lives better. Hopefully it's the latter. I really want to thank Patty for coming on. That was really, I mean, I always had a great connection with her ever since I was a kid. And I really was a kid. I think I was maybe 17 when I first met her. So I just want to put up again this Martin Luther King. It's really important to acknowledge what's happening right now. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. And that means getting out there and letting your voice be heard. Black Lives Matter, my friends. And happy Pride Month to everyone as well. Take care of yourselves. As Patty said, be good to yourselves and be good to other people around you. And as Ellen DeGeneres says, be kind to one another. All right. Have a great evening, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you this coming Tuesday, hopefully, with a new guest. Peace, everybody.